Released in 1980 and developed by Atari, it's 3D Tic-Tac-Toe. It was designed by Carol Shaw, who did another classic Atari 2600 game, River Raid. My copy of which looks like it was shoved up somebody's ass. You might be asking, why spend $40 on a video game version of Tic-Tac-Toe when you can play it on paper? Well, for one thing, if you don't have any friends around, it can be played versus the computer. Secondly, unlike the original game, this one is played on 4x4 grids stacked vertically, one on top of another. This creates many new ways to get a tic-tac-toe. It's more like playing an advanced game of chess than the traditional tic-tac-toe you knew as a kid. I have to wonder if the designers at Atari had three-dimensional chess from Star Trek on the mind when they came up with this, because it seems like a similar concept. It's also somewhat similar to the board game Connect 4, where you have to drop your pieces in a row of 4 without being blocked by your opponent. In the game, you need to get 4 X's in a row before the computer gets 4 O's in a row. What makes this hard is that your rows can be completed in any direction. Vertical, diagonal, anything. If you try and go for an easy row of 4 in a straight row, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose. I'm not exactly sure how this game can be considered tic-tac-toe, because doesn't that mean 3? In the Atari version of the game, you're matching 4. When you play the computer, the screen goes blank for a moment while the computer processes its move. The game has different difficulty settings, so as your skill increases, you can make it more challenging. On higher settings, the computer takes longer to think about its moves because it's thinking further steps ahead. So it seems kind of like there's a penalty for getting good at the game, which I'd consider a flaw. This is an incredibly common Atari 2600 game, and possibly one of the cheapest to get. I suppose not many people want this one because it forces you to think hard, and not many people seem to want to do that these days. Some versions of this game have a label with art, while others just have a plain black label that says Game Program. When you see labels like that, they're usually the older Atari games produced when the console was first released in 1977. They started doing the more elaborate picture labels in 1981. They reprinted many of the early games with new picture labels, which is why you'll find both types floating around. Overall verdict? I'll put it this way. If you're the type of person who finds enjoyment in a good game of chess, you'll probably like this game. If not, stay away. Oh, and I almost forgot. This game is 2 players, so you can invite all your friends over to play. Clearly, this is an important element for any killer party.